I think there is something that's, I recently was at a comedy show, actually. There's a comedy club here in DC that helped launch the career of Dave Chappelle and a number of other big time comedians. Recently had its 40th anniversary, and I went to it, a big stand up special. They had a bunch of the alums come back, people who had worked on Chappelle's show back in the day. He wasn't actually there, even though we were kind of hoping he would show up. It's a forum in which they, right at the beginning, tell you, look, nobody record this, nobody, like, we're going to say things that are going to get us canceled here tonight. Like, we're trusting everybody in the audience, like, we're all in this together. And this was kind of the MCs throughout the whole thing, as they're bringing more people on, are sort of reminding the audience this. And it was like a different kind of experience, because it does then feel like you're also transgressing, right?
Yeah.
It's like including the audience in this moment in a way that I thought was really cool. And this happened at the 930 Club. It wasn't like in an underground comedy cellar basement show or anything, but it felt that way for a minute, right? It felt like, oh, here's, we're all doing something we shouldn't be doing, right? We're telling jokes. And so the current moment is not necessarily good in a lot of ways on this front, but there is, like, you do get that little kick of, like, subversion from just participating in it. And so that's great. So, like, go out and see live comedy, go see stand-up shows. That's one thing you can do to help the culture.
Yeah. Joe Rogan has opened his new club in Austin, and I think he did it specifically because he wanted to have a home for comedians who might otherwise be canceled or not allowed to perform in other places, particularly college campuses, which are so hostile right now. Yeah. And I'm sort of obsessed with the fact that Joe Rogan started off, as I remember the history, was just talking to his buddy comedians.
Yeah.
And they were just shooting the shit. And, sometimes comedians, obviously, they get into very controversial political, cultural things. And he is now the most trusted figure in news. I don't think he would say it that way, but people like him because it's not propaganda. Whatever it is, it's not propaganda. He's just having honest conversations. And to this day, I think the comedy episodes are by far the best performing.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be different today because everything, even his show is online, right? And it's broadcast. Everybody can access it with their phone. That's obviously worlds away from, like, the 1950s, early 1960s and the Gaslight Cafe in the Village in New York, right? Like, it's just, the dynamics are all so different. But there are these common themes and sort of this element of free speech and this element of wanting to just, like, say the thing that you can't say. And I think that's always, like, whatever comes next, that's always going to be with us in the culture. I hope, at least. I think that's the quintessentially American thing to Maisel and Bruce's time period, and it carries through to today in a different way.
So you guys, the Reason guys, were kind of first generation. We're gonna do cultural stuff and even comedy stuff to introduce people to some of these libertarian ideas. Do you know when the first comedy thing hit? It's been years now.
Like at Reason, you mean? Reason
yeah.
TV? No, I don't know. I know they've been doing it for as long as I've been aware of Reason. And I should know probably when that started up. But that's been sort of fundamental to Reason TV. And even before there was Reason TV, that was fundamental. We had Peter Bagg in the magazine, going back decades. And there's always been kind of that aesthetic, I think, to Reason in the print product that we put out. And I hope on the web too. But certainly in the print product, there's been that aesthetic. Brian Doherty, one of our senior editors, just published a book on dirty comics, basically on this is now not comics, stand-up comics, but drawn comics, jokes and things like that. That could only be printed by certain publishers that were basically shunned by, they weren't not comic strips that were not in your newspapers, but ones that you could find in other places over the decades. So, I think there's sort of that overlap with libertarianism for sure, in just the sense of, like, if somebody's saying you can't publish something or say something, even if it's not legal, even if it's just a cultural norm, I think there's always going to be a little sense of, like, well, libertarians, we want to do that anyway.
Yeah,